In this session, we're going to move these darts around the front bodice. This is our standard block with the dart coming right down from the shoulder, throwing fullness into the bust area, and the dart coming up from the waist, throwing fullness into the bust area. But, you know, in actual fact, those two darts are pretty ugly looking in that position, and that's the position that they're in the standard block. So what I'm going to show you today is how to actually move these darts into other positions around the block. I'm going to move the dart into the side seam, into the centre front, into the waist, and in these locations they look much more attractive. Now here we're going to move the bust dart at the shoulder, and we're going to take and move it into the side seam using a technique called slash and spread. So what we're doing is we're taking that dart and we're going to move it into the side seam like what we have here. Now we're going to have to use the original block with the darts, both darts coming to the bust point. So let's go back to your original block, and I want you to draw around this. Now once again I'm using a pen so that you can see this, but I would always recommend that you would use a pencil, an HB. I'm just laying my weights on here, and we're going to use a technique called slash and spread. So I'm just going to draw around the block, nice and neatly, around the armhole, making sure that I'm marking where the little dart is on the armhole. Now, and I'm coming down the centre front and across the waist. And what I'm doing here is, it's always important to label your patterns, so always indicate the centre front of your pattern, like what I have here. And now I'm going to draw in the lines of the darts. Now I want you to draw these lines in with a nice faint pencil line. Obviously I'm not using a pencil line, so I'm going to mark them in with a dashed line, but you'll use a faint pencil line. There you go. So we're bringing the darts to the bust point. The darts are connected, and it's from here. Oh, I meant to mark that in as a dashed line. So I want you to make yours a nice faint line. Mine's meant to be dashed, although I've made that one solid by mistake. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut around the pattern quickly. Get rid of all the Okay, and now I've got my front bodice. So what I need to do, I need to work out where I'm putting the dart. So I'm moving this big dart in here to the side seam. So let's locate the dart approximately a third the way down the side seam, just approximately. So I'm starting off by marking a new line, the line of the new dart. So I'm going to locate my dart, move this dart into the side seam. So I'm marking approximately a third the way down here, and I'm drawing a nice solid line from the side seam, the location for the new dart, into the bust point. Now, watch what happens now. Now this technique is called slash and spread. I'm cutting out the dart that I'm wanting to get rid of. So I'm physically cutting out the dart inlay. And now what I'm doing is I'm cutting up that blue line, the line of where the new dart is located. I'm leaving it hanging together here at the bust point, about 1 millimetre. So there's my pattern. So what I'm doing is I'm physically taking that and I'm closing the dart over at the shoulder, and that gives me a brand new dart on the side seam. So I need to take some tape and stick this. So I've just got some tape, I'm going to stick it down, and that's my new dart location. So now I have a dart still at the waist, and I've one going into the side seam. Now we've got a big gap here. So what we've got to do is to create the dart inlay. Now let me show you how to do that. I want you to take a piece of paper, lay it underneath like that, and sellotape it down. Tape it down with some masking tape. So that's my new dart in the block. And what I'm going to do now here is I'm going to fold this bit, but just mark that in pen so that you can see it, the size of the new dart. It's quite a big dart, but it's actually smaller than the one we had on the shoulder. So what we're doing here is we want the dart inlay to hang down whenever the actual dart is sewn. So what I'm doing here, I'm taking and I'm folding the paper there over until it matches the other side of the dart leg. And with my paper in that position, I take my scissors and I cut along the side seam. Okay, there's a little bit of spare paper sticking up there that we don't need. So that now gives me my dart inlay. So can you see how the dart inlay goes out a little bit at the side like this? So whenever I sew up this dart, this is the fabric which is called in the dart inlay. We press the pattern, we press the dart, and the dart inlay will fold towards the waist. So there's my new darts. So what we've got to do now is literally, as you know, we don't want the darts to come up to the bust point. So this dart here, we find the middle point of it, like we did in the last demonstration. Find the midpoint. Okay. And we move from the bust point, we'll move the dart end down 5 centimetres. And what I'm marking in here now in black will be my actual darts that I sew into the bodice. I'm not quite sure that black's showing up well enough, so I might just change the colour of my pen to a green. I think hopefully that will show a bit better for you. So I'm just going to... No, I don't think that's very bright either. Right, I might go back to I'll just go back to the black. So once again, we've already got the midpoint in the dart inlay here. We know where that is. And I want you to move that dart back from the bust point approximately 3.5 to 4 centimetres. And I mark in my new dart locations. Okay, so if you were to cut the garment from this, you would have to literally physically add on the seam allowances. But let's mark in with the drill hole the ends of the darts and notch where the darts at the waist and the side seam. So here we are, we've just moved that enormous big ugly dart from the shoulder into the side seam. Now, in this session we're going to do 5 dart manipulations by the technique called slash and spread. Now the next one we're going to do is, again, we're taking that big ugly shoulder dart, but this time we're going to place a seam down the centre front of the garment, and we're going to place the shoulder dart into the centre front, like what you can see here. Now, once again, you draw around your block. Now I've already drawn around my block on the paper and I've cut it out. So it's exactly the same technique again here. What you're doing is you're indicating exactly where you want the new dart location to be. So we're moving the shoulder dart into the centre front. So I'm just going to make it just opposite the bust point here. So I'm drawing a line in like that. And what I'm doing now is I'm taking my scissors, appear to have disappeared, but there they've got them back again, and I'm removing the dart inlay of the dart that I'm closing. So I'm getting rid of that. That goes straight into the bin. And what I'm doing here, I'm actually cutting along the orange line that I've just drawn, and I'm taking this time and I'm just closing the dart over, and I've got this little teeny weeny dart here on the centre front. So can you see how that enormous big dart, whenever we close it up this time, we end up with a little small dart in the centre front. Now, depending where you actually locate the dart on the bodice, it will change. It will be a different size in each location on the bodice. So once again, I'm taping the dart closed. So you've got this little teeny dart here. I've still got to produce a dart inlay. So let's do another one of those so you can see the process here. So I'm taking another piece of paper, look, placing it underneath, taping it down, just taping it down like that, to make sure you can see the fold lines. I'm just going to mark them back in again because the masking tape has covered up the orange lines that I've made. And there we go. So what I'm doing now is, once again, we want the dart inlay to fold down towards the waist. So I'm folding up this orange line, which is called a dart leg, and I'm laying on top of the other dart leg. And with the patterns, fold it like that. It's vital to do this whenever you do the cutting on the centre front, whenever the pattern is folded. And hallelujah, we get the dart inlay. Yes, once again we've got to move the darts back from the bust point because they always don't look, the dart looks very pointed if it's actually sewn up to the bust point. So the waist dart we're moving back by 5 centimetres. Put in our new dart. Okay, new dart in. So once again you literally put your drill hole in, do your notching at the bottom. Now on this dart here, again we don't want that to come up to the bust point, so I want you to move that back by approximately 3 centimetres. Now you won't actually know until you've sewn the garment up with the darts in this location whether you've moved the darts back sufficiently. So you really have to create a toile of the garment to make sure the ends of the new darts are in a lovely location. So once again, I'm notching the darts, and I've taken my dart from the shoulder and I've moved it into the centre front. So that's exercise 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on now and do exercise 3. Here you can see it here. So what we've got this time, we've got our 2 darts in the normal location, but this time we're taking that big dart and we're placing all of it into the waist. So we're putting the shoulder dart straight into the waist. And again, that looks very attractive on a garment. So once again, I want you to draw around the block and cut it out. And what I've done here, I've already got my block drawn and cut out. So what I'm doing here, I've got the bust point located, as you can see. So what I'm doing here, I'm taking that dart and I'm moving in here. So I'm cutting out this enormous, big, ugly shoulder dart. Inlay. That goes straight into the bin. So this time I'm cutting out also the waist dart. And there we go. I'm trying to keep it hanging together at the bust point. So simply what you do is this, you're literally moving the patterns together like that. Can you see? So you're putting all of that big shoulder dart in there. Can you see? So we've got to tape that up as we've previously done, and we're going to have to create the dart inlay. So I'm just going to tape that up nicely. And I need to get a little bit of paper and do the dart inlay. A piece of paper here, just cut it at the shape of the dart inlay. So place it underneath, like that. Can you see? Here. And just put my little weights to keep everything down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape in the dart inlay. I'm going to mark it back in again so we can see it with, I'll do it with my orange pen, and we'll keep the colours all the same. So now that we've put the masking tape on, it's hard to see where the legs of the darts are, so I'm doing it in the bright orange pen, but you'll be doing this in pencil. You'll not be using pen like what I'm doing. So what I'm doing here, look guys, I'm taking, this time the dart inlay, we want to fold it towards the side seam. So here's your centre front and here's your side seam. So what we're doing here is we're taking the dart inlay and just folding over. I'm taking the dart leg, folding over like that. I'm getting that wrong. I'm taking the dart inlay on the side seam, folding it over, And all of a sudden your pattern begins to take shape as if you're sewing it whenever you're doing this. So with your pattern, fold it, cut across the bottom and line with the run of the waist. And here you've got your dart inlay. Can you see it? So whenever we sew this up, we'll be sewing the lines of the dart legs, and we'll press the dart towards the side seam, and the whole thing will lie in line with the run of the waist. And once again, you've got to physically move the dart down away from the bust point, so you would lower that down by 5 centimetres and put in your new dart. So you know how to do that now. I'm not going to go through the process of lowering the dart and all of them. So we're going to go on to exercise number 4. Now this is an interesting one, isn't it? Here we're moving the dart here in the shoulder. We're actually going to be putting it in to the centre front. So we're taking that and we're actually moving it here and here. So like what you can see here. So let's do this one now. By slash and spread. So once again I've got my I'm just going to move all that out of the way. I've drawn around the pattern and I've cut it out. So what I'm doing this time is I'm marking on where I want this shoulder dart to be, and I'm putting it at an angle into the centre front like this.